Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Flame Emperor episode number 259 based on novel. So let's start. Master, how long do you think this guy can last? Outside the shaman, Hua Fei looked at Xiao Yan, who had entered the first level, and couldn't help asking. Hua Fei clearly remembered that it was the first time he came to assess the 4th grade pharmacist of the immortal rank, and he was tortured to death by the soul training of the first level. Close. Time flows slowly here, but it's not advisable to stay for a long time. The outside world is less than a month away from the East continent. In our independent void, it should be less than 300 days to convert the time. After all, 10 days here, the outside world is only 1 day. Tan. Dust murmured slightly. Master. Seeing his master ignore his words, Hua Fei couldn't help complaining. I remember that you persisted in the first level for 30 days. And the highest test record for our Eastern Continent immortal pharmacist is 50 days. Tan Chen said. Yeah, 30 days. In the beginning, I was able to deal with it by virtue of the Fairyland soul, but as time went on, after that guy ate away our soul power, the power became stronger and stronger, and instead of me dealing with it, it became a coercion against me. 30 days alone is the limit. I don't know how the monsters spent those 50 days. Hua Fei was trembling when he remembered it now. Obviously, the kind of creature that directly attacks his own soul power is too much. I'm afraid, even if I kill him, I don't want to experience it a second time. Just watch it quietly, this kid won't let us down. And I have a hunch, it seems that this kid is not as simple as it seems. In the next ratio of Dongju, if you face him, you have to be careful, so as not to lose the face of our dignified Lei Cheng Alchemist Association. Tan. After Chen finished speaking, he disappeared directly here and went deeper. Although this first level was simple, the longer he stayed, the more powerful his soul power became. Following Tan Chen's departure, Hua Fei also kept guarding outside shaman. Once Xiao Yang couldn't bear it, he would immediately send a signal to ask his master to rescue him. At this time, within the stone gate, there is another scene. I never imagined that a soul beast composed of soul power would actually be such a small soul beast. At this time, the entire space was bright, and there was even a cyan flame that once looked like the sun hanging above the sky. Ghost Face Soul Flame. This sun was formed by Xiao Yang using Ghost Face and Soul Flame. At this time, Xiao Yang had a panoramic view of this space. In this space, there is a quite vast lake. Above the lake hangs a reef that is no more than 10 meters in size. On the reef is a towering tree. The towering tree has yellow branches and leaves, and its thick rhizomes continuously absorb the power of the lake. At this time, Xiao Yang's figure is standing on the towering tree, and even his palm is doing a grabbing action. This is a soul beast composed of soul power. Why is it so weak? Xiao Yang was a little surprised. Obviously, the soul power he had just released when he entered this place was swallowed up by it. Later, after using the Ghost Face Soul Flame, he found the guy was sleeping soundly and grabbed it straight away. However, this guy is completely transparent, and it fits perfectly with this void. He can't see any traces at all. If it wasn't for the perception of soul power, Xiao Yang probably wouldn't have found it. Therefore, Xiao Yang's appearance at this time is that he has grabbed the soul beast, but this soul beast is colorless and transparent and exactly the same as the surrounding environment, and even to others, Xiao Yang just made an action of grabbing an empty object. But how do I get through this first stage? The next moment, Xiao Yang was a little depressed. Tan Chen said that it would be enough to defeat the soul beast, but after Xiao Yang caught it, the spirit palace that stored the soul power in his body sent out a burst of pleasant joy. It seems that the power of the soul is slowly increasing. Idiot! And the soul eater in the ring finally couldn't stand it anymore. He jumped out and scolded Xiao Yang. Master! Xiao Yang was also confused and hurriedly asked. This kind of soul beast can only be called a soul beast in the true sense. Because they are composed of soul power, and this soul power is the pure energy tempered by the soul alchemist. But this thing is a good treasure, because it is the best material for tempering the soul. The Lord of Soul Eater said with a fiery voice. Training the soul? Xiao Yang asked suspiciously. The cultivation of soul power, since you started to cultivate to the Fairyland, is mainly to expand the soul realm, and after reaching the Fairyland, you need to compress the soul power to form the most pure soul source, and then inject it into the spiritual palace. I believe you have also discovered that the area of the spiritual palace is quite small, but all of your dazzling soul power can only fill the first floor, which is why there is no tempering. The Soul Eater explained. Master, let's get started. Xiao Yang smiled and said after hearing this. Soul tempering is not as simple as swallowing the holy flame, because it directly attacks the human soul. If there is any loss, I am afraid. Although the Lord of Soul Eater admired Xiao Yang's awareness, he still said, "Don't worry, I can hold on." Xiao Yang said slowly, obviously now that he has strengthened his soul power, he can continue to improve his alchemist skills. Only in this way can he reach the point of refining and swallowing immortal fire elixir 1 ring buckle. Okay. Seeing that Xiao Yang was so energetic, the master of Soul Eater did not hesitate, and directly summoned the ghost-like ghost flame in the sky like the sun, and then suddenly whistled away at the transparent soul beast. The spirit beast that was still sleeping soundly was awakened directly by the powerful holy flame power of Ghost-Face Spirit Flame, and then broke free from Xiao Yang's shackles in an instant, and within 1 meter of Xiao Yang, turned into a vortex, with the vortex as the center. One after another invisible soul impact suddenly spread out. The soul power of this soul beast may have reached the Fairyland or even stronger. Being stimulated by the Ghost-Face Soul Flame, regardless of the 3721, the soul ripples that erupted unexpectedly caused Xiao Yang to have a problem. An excruciating feeling. Xiao Yang covered his forehead, his pupils were bloodshot, and he was in great pain. Hold on, the Ghost-Face Soul Flame has completely stimulated all the soul power of the soul beast. As long as you can persevere, your soul power will be greatly improved. The Soul Eater looked at Xiao Yang, who looked like this and couldn't bear it. Live aloud with concern. Relax, I can. Intermittent voices came from Xiao Yang's mouth, and then the towering branches, and even the lake, were filled with Xiao Yang's wailing and howling sounds, but with the help of Xiao Yang. With this kind of screaming, Xiao Yang's soul power became more and more solid, and even the Ling Palace burst out towards the 2nd floor, which is a sign of increased soul power. Time flies, and a long time has passed in the blink of an eye. No way. It's been 30 days, Xiao Yang hasn't made any movement yet. Hua Fei, who had been guarding Shemen for 30 days, looked at Shemen and couldn't help muttering. For them, it is common sense that a retreat takes months or years. This guy is really a monster. After 40 days, Hua Fei looked at Shemen, who still showed no signs of coming out, and lost his voice. 50 days. The record of our Alchemist Association was actually broken by him. 60 days. Is this guy a monster? 100 days. This guy won't die in it. This time, Hua Fei couldn't sit still at noon, so he got up and lost his voice. Because he knows that although the soul beast in the first level is a little tricky, it is not difficult to defeat it, and some people will vaguely find that the soul beast has some tempering effect on their pharmacist's soul power, but they do not. He knows how to use it, and the guy who persisted for 50 days is the current vice president and his master Tan Chen. However, Hua Fei obviously didn't know that Xiao Yang possessed Ghost-Face Soul Flame, and Ghost-Face Soul Flame restrained a lot of soul power, so being so angered by Soul Eater, the soul beast suddenly turned into a machine, and he kept urging himself. Soul power tempered Xiao Yang's soul, so it only took 100 days. Master! That Xiao Yang has been in there for 100 days, and he hasn't come out yet. Hua Fei left Shemen directly and ran to his master. It seems that this guy should have seen through the blindness of the soul beast, and I'm afraid he has some means. Let's go, it should be out soon. Tan Chen was not too surprised. After all, he was able to compare the soul coercion on the plaque at the main entrance of the Alchemist Association. If he couldn't even pass the first level, then it's too shameful. It's almost there. And Xiao Yang in the space in the stone gate, at this moment, his complexion has softened, but the breath of his body is stronger than before entering, because at this moment, in Xiao Yang's soul realm, the 2nd floor of the Spirit Palace is already full of luster. Although the luster is not extremely dazzling, but the real thing has been filled. This symbolizes that Xiao Yang has broken through the soul power after these 100 days. Before Xiao Yang, the soul power was already in the Fairyland, and after stepping into the Fairyland soul, it was the early stage of the Void Realm. The Fairyland soul has 3 major levels and 9 minor levels, which exactly correspond to the 9-level spiritual palace in the soul realm. The 1st floor of the Spirit Palace corresponds to the early stage of the Great Void Realm, while the 2nd floor undoubtedly corresponds to the middle stage of the Great Void Realm. Don't look at it from the early stage to the middle stage, but the gap between the two is not a little bit. To put it simply, a soul powerhouse in the middle stage of Taishu is enough to be worth the 3 powerhouses in the early stage of Taishu, so one can tell the strengths and weaknesses of them at a glance. Let's go. Xiao Yang watched the transparent soul beast dying, and also released a soul force to nourish it, and then the figure jumped and left here in an instant. Little friend Xiao Yang, congratulations on cleaning the records of our Alchemist Association. Just as Xiao Yang came out of the shaman space, Tan Chen's relieved voice sounded slowly. 100 days, although I don't want to admit it, you are indeed the first guy I'm convinced. Hua Fei also lost his desire to be competitive at this time. Hey, your soul power. It seems that it's not the same as when you first entered. Before Xiao Yang had time to interject, Tan Chen suddenly opened his mouth and said, TSK actually broke through. The soul power in the middle stage of Tai Shu. The next moment, Tan Chen saw Xiao Yang's soul power at a glance, and said, What? In the middle stage of Tai Shu? Hua Fei couldn't help swallowing a mouthful of saliva when he heard the words. After the Fairyland Soul, it is the casting of a 9-story spiritual palace, and when the casting of the 9-layer soul is completed, it is the real soul that sets foot in the Fairyland. As for the lighting of the first layer of the spiritual palace, it is the early stage of the Taishu realm, but Hua Fei's current state is that he has just cast the 9th layer of the spiritual palace, and has not lit the spiritual palace, so strictly speaking, Hua Fei is only a quasi-Fairyland soul. And Xiao Yang is different. Xiao Yang's soul power is almost 2 levels higher than his own, which makes Hua Fei slightly surprised. You must know that in the entire Alchemist Association, very few of them have set foot on the soul of the Taishu realm. There are very few, and they are all very old. The young guy is only himself. As for other strong people, even his own master, Vice President Tan Chen has just stepped into the soul of the Hua Yuan realm. This Xiao Yang is actually so young, given time, will be able to surpass his master. Hey, it's just a fluke. Xiao Yang scratched his head helplessly and said, obviously if the soul beast inside had absorbed too much soul power of the experts who participated in the assessment, plus his own ghost face soul flame, I'm afraid he wouldn't be able to. There is such a chance. Oh, forget it. Since you came to us for the assessment, you will also be a part of us in the future. Do you have any opinion? Tan Chen is also an old fox. Seeing that Xiao Yangguang was so good in the first test, he said directly, it's natural. Xiao Yang heard the words and nodded lightly. Obviously, the Alchemist Association's huge backer could not be relied on by anyone. Since Tan Chen intends to befriend him, then it's better to be a good friend. Then let's go to the second level of the assessment first. Refining medicine pills. Tan Chen said slightly, but his voice was filled with a trace of medicine pills. Because the huge soul power is only the premise of being a high-level pharmacist, because Tan Chen is in a high position, he has seen too many examples of people with huge soul power but unable to refine medicine pills perfectly. Xiao Yang, don't blame me for not reminding you that the master is so happy after a long time. When you choose a prescription for a while, don't choose those difficult ones. You have already broken the record of the first level. Even if you choose the simplest prescription for the second level, there is no problem. As long as you can pass the assessment smoothly, then you are the best alchemist in our Alchemist Association. Hua Fei concealed the use of soul power to convey news to Xiao Yang. Let's go to the second level. After Tan Chen finished speaking, he didn't hesitate too much, he waved his sleeves, and the three of them changed the scene immediately without walking. It's really a big hand from the strong. It's worthy of the soul power of the Hua Yuan level. Xiao Yang exclaimed. In just a few breaths, the three of them came to the refining pharmacy. Obviously, this is the assessment site for the second level. In the blink of an eye, everyone came to a rather unfamiliar place. There is an extremely wide field here, and even a huge cauldron of medicine cauldrons are standing side by side, which is obviously a place specially set up for the assessment. This is the assessment venue for the second level. There will be 3 volumes of prescriptions for you to choose from, respectively, the prescriptions of the 4 levels of the immortal rank, Tiandixuan, and 3 levels. You only need to choose the prescription you are most confident in and refine it, which means that the assessment is successful, saying, to be a true immortal level pharmacist. But I have to tell you in advance that the soul power and fighting spirit consumed by the 4th grade immortal pharmacist to refine the medicinal pills are far from comparable to that of the Emperor, even the immortal pill robbery, compared to the pill thunder produced by the Emperor pill. The robbery has been tyrannical several times over. You have to be prepared. Tan Chen said seriously. Junior knows. Xiao Yang nodded heavily. Obviously, the matter of refining medicine, since leaving the Dochi continent and leaving Yarrow Laro's guidance, Xiao Yang has been groping by himself. These things are obviously brand new. For Xiao Yang, they are quite interesting. Pressure. A series of rock squirming sounds suddenly appeared from the bottom of the refining pharmacy, and in front of Xiao Yang, 3 stone pillars slowly rose from the ground. Above the stone pillars, there were one after another of silver simple scrolls. The scrolls were quiet lying on top of the stone pillar, Protected by a tyrannical light shield, even Xiao Yang couldn't crack it in a short period of time. What is the means of an Earth-type powerhouse? Xiao Yang was no stranger to these 3 stone pillars' actions. Obviously, this was not automatic, but a fighting technique controlled by the fighting skills of some Earth-type powerhouses. There are 3 volumes of prescriptions here, you can choose one volume and start. Tan Chen said. Xiao Yang nodded lightly, and then his eyes moved slightly towards the 3 stone pillars. First of all, what Xiao Yang saw was the weakest of the 3 prescriptions. Immortal rank 4th grade Shen rank medicinal pill, Fuxin Dan. This pill has the miraculous effect of sobering and detoxifying, and has a rather tyrannical restraint against some toxin-like dark diseases. This thing is too weak. The next moment, Xiao Yang turned his head gently, not looking at the last volume of prescriptions. After all, Xiao Yang broke through the soul power in the first level, and his refining skills at this time were even better than before. Tyrannical, in any case, at least it is the medicine of the 4th grade of the immortal rank. Immortal rank 4th grade Earth rank. Xiao Yang had an idea, turned his head straight away, and walked towards the 2nd stone pillar. Amplification Dan. This pill is called Amplifying Pill. After taking it, it can increase the user's own strength by half for an hour. The small words impacted Xiao Yang's mind. Obviously, this pill was quite attractive to Xiao Yang. Force. After all, Xiao Yang's soul power and holy flame are both extremely terrifying powers at this time. Only his own fighting chi strength is too weak. If he has this medicine pill, he will undoubtedly increase his fighting power, even his rank and rank. The effect is much more useful than Fuxin Dan. Forget it, let's look at the 1st stone pillar first. Although Xiao Yang was quite interested in the prescription in the 2nd stone pillar, he was not in a hurry. This is Immortal rank 4th grade Heaven rank, the prescription of the fairy spirit pill. And when Xiao Yang's eyes and soul power probed towards the 1st stone pillar, a shock slowly poured into his heart. What is a fairy pill? That is the only divine pill that restores Do Qi. It can be said without hesitation that this pill is the strongest pill for restoring Do Qi under the 4-star Do Xian, and there is no one. And the terrifying value of the medicinal pill also makes it expensive, and as for this medicine, it is even more precious. Xiao Yang was slightly surprised that he would encounter this thing when he was evaluating the immortal rank alchemist. Master. This. Seeing this, Hua Fei couldn't help but put a black line on his head. Obviously, when he was examining the immortal level pharmacist, the medicine formula for the earth level profound level was exactly the same as when he was examining it, except for this heaven level prescription, but there has been a change. According to the information Hua Fei knew before, the heaven level prescription was not the prescription of the immortal spirit pill, but something else. Be quiet. Seeing that his disciple was so excited, Tan Chen stared at Xiao Yang's actions as if nothing else. Master, this is really an abuse of power. Hua Fei was slightly dissatisfied. Obviously, the value of this immortal elixir cannot be measured by money, but it was only learned by Xiao Yang after the assessment, which made Hua Fei quite depressed. I'll choose it. The next moment, Xiao Yang's dazzling soul power burst out, and he walked towards the 1st stone pillar, instantly breaking through the protection, and holding the prescription of the fairy pill in his hand. Although this prescription is only engraved, its value is also hard to find. Good boy, courageous. But this thing is not so easy to refine. Tan Chen grinned, as if Xiao Yang's actions were all in his own calculations. Senior's medicinal pill, I'm sure. Xiao Yang said with a grin. Although this medicinal pill was called a 4th grade immortal rank medicinal pill, Xiao Yang had a lot of confidence. Now that you're ready, let's start. Tan Chen smiled slowly and said, Okay. Xiao Yang nodded lightly and sat cross-legged directly. After some practice, he adjusted his body's breath to the peak, and then he carefully examined the prescription of the immortal spirit pill. Xianling pill can be taken during battle. After taking it, nearly 80% of the fighting spirit will be recovered almost instantly. But remember, you can only take it once a month, otherwise excessive use will cause resistance, and it will be useless in the future. Material for refining: withered spirit source branch, ice heart chalcedony, swallowing spirit stone. Just as Xiao Yang used his soul power to enter the prescription, a series of voices came out slowly. Swallowing spirit stones? No wonder the immortal spirit pill can instantly restore so much vindictiveness. It turned out to be because of this thing. Xiao Yang was relieved. Swallowing spirit stone, this kind of special stone that can store Do Qi, regardless of the size of the palm of your hand, but it can store the huge power of Doxian powerhouse. No, there are 3 materials in it. So you have 3 chances, and the time is 200 days. If you fail 3 times, or if it takes more than 200 days, it will prove that you have failed. Tan Chen pointed his finger at the prescription held by Xiao Yang, and suddenly a simple accepting ring slowly took from the prescription. It fell out of it. Thank you, senior. Xiao Yang took the acceptance ring and said respectfully, and then the figure in front of him slowly came to the huge refining medicine cauldron in front of him, and a heavy touch slowly emerged in his heart. Who? Fighting, the alchemist of the 4th rank of immortal rank. If it succeeds, I am afraid it will be quite terrifying. Xiao Yang held the acceptance ring, and said slowly in his heart. This guy. Tan Chen watched Xiao Yang take the Naji and the prescription, and was not busy refining the fire, so he couldn't help but look forward to Xiao Yang more and more. It stands to reason that Xiao Yang's soul power in the middle stage of Taishu can at most be able to refine a 4th grade earth-level elixir of immortal rank. Tan Chen had some expectations for Xiao Yang. A day is fleeting. During this day, Xiao Yang didn't move, just sat on the spot, not knowing what he was doing, and Hua Fei and Tan Chen were also inseparable. After all, refining medicinal pills is not a trivial matter, and there is no room for sloppy, let alone an immortal rank. If there is any mistake in the refining pharmacist and the immortal pharmacist, it will be a huge loss to their refining pharmacist world. It's been a long time since I started refining medicinal pills. In one day, I adjusted the breath in my body to the peak, and I became more and more familiar with flames. Let's start. After Xiao Yang finished speaking, he immediately wiggled lightly in the ring, and the 3 most important materials for refining the immortal spirit pill appeared. The first type is a dry spirit source branch about the size of an arm. Withered spirit origin branch, this is a branch and leaf of wood attribute, but it has some effects that few people know about, seal. The second material is green and snow white, like a piece of ice, the ice heart chalcedony. This thing has a very strong neutralizing effect. As for the last one, swallowing spirit stones. This is a kind of khaki-colored stone that looks exactly like other stones on the outside, but the tyrannical soul power lets Xiao Yang know that among the 3 materials, the only one that is most difficult to refine is the spirit-swallowing stone. The spirit-swallowing stone must be refined, so that the sealing power of the dry spirit origin branch can seal it, plus the neutralization of Bing Shin chalcedony and some other medicinal materials to form a fairy pill. Make a fire. Xiao Yang's pupils narrowed slightly, and the dazzling soul power directly split into 4 strands, controlling the 3 medicinal materials and the medicine refining cauldron respectively. Boom. As soon as Xiao Yang's voice fell, the 3 fiery red cauldrons in front of him suddenly became restless. The inside of the tripod was already filled with extremely rich flames beating around. This guy's fire attribute is intense, but he is much more arrogant than you. Just by looking at it, Tan Chen also discovered the unusualness of Xiao Yang's flames. But Tan Chen obviously didn't know. What Xiao Yang used at this time was only the flame formed by his own fire attribute Do Core through burning dew, and he did not use holy flame, otherwise it would be another look. As for the reason why Xiao Yang's general fire attribute is stronger than others, the fundamental reason is that he has been tempered by Sheng Yang. What's so great about Huaqiang? I don't believe this guy can succeed. Successful refining is a true genius. Hua Fei defended. How about we make a bet? Tan Chen said with a smile. Okay, master, what do you want to bet on? Hua Fei heard the words, but he didn't laugh. After all, his master claimed that he would lose every time he bet. I bet Xiao Yang can successfully refine the elixir and take over the elixir tribulation. Tan Chen said with a smile. Then I bet he can't. Hua Fei said with a smile. After all, Hua Fei is also an immortal rank alchemist. He knows how difficult it is to refine immortal rank 4th rank heaven rank medicinal pills. Although Xiao Yang has a good talent, he is still poor. A little. If I win, give me the silver mountain map from your home. If I lose, I'll give you a 5th grade immortal rank medicinal pill. Tan Chen said with a smile. No problem. Hua Fei readily agreed upon hearing this. It is said that there are quite a few of you in the silver mountain map, but their family has never been able to find them, and the silver mountain map is too insignificant compared to the immortal rank 5th grade medicinal herbs. After all, in the entire eastern continent, there are almost only a few strong people who can refine the immortal rank 5th grade medicinal pills. This master and apprentice. Xiao Yang didn't act rashly, he has been controlling the soul power, evenly distributing the flames in the cauldron, and the soul power is also exploring and thinking about how to refine the 3 medicinal materials as quickly as possible. Boom. The fiery red flames have been flying around in the medicine cauldron, and even the temperature is getting higher and higher. Xiao Yang didn't act rashly, because he didn't refine the medicine for too long, and he seemed unfamiliar, for fear of wasting the medicinal materials and time, so he kept looking for the feeling. It's almost there. After a short while, Xiao Yang finally recovered his medicine refining state, and snorted lightly, and immediately the swallowing spirit stone like a stone was thrown directly into the medicine refining cauldron. Crash. At this time, the temperature in the medicine refining cauldron was extremely terrifying. In addition to the control of Xiao Yang's soul power, the swallowing spirit stone just poured in, and the overwhelming flames immediately surrounded it, releasing bursts of high temperature, trying to refining the spirit swallowing stone. However, the spirit swallowing stone was the main ingredient of the immortal spirit pill. No matter how tyrannical the flames were at this time, Xiao Yang remained motionless, standing quietly in the medicine cauldron, letting the flames burn. Xiao Yang is not in a hurry, because under the constant burning of the flame, the surface of the spirit swallowing stone is slowly overflowing with traces of cracks. Obviously, with the passage of time, it will eventually be refined by himself. Next is Bingshan Chalcedony. Xiao Yang separated out a soul force, controlled the flame in the cauldron to refine it against the spirit swallowing stone, and then separated out the soul force and swept the ice into the medicine refining cauldron. At the same time, separating the soul power to refine the medicinal materials. Although the burden on the soul power and the self is not small, it is the most time-saving, but Xiao Yang's method is rarely followed by pharmacists. After all, if there is a mistake, only start all over again. The temperature of the flame inside the medicine refining cauldron was extremely high, but with the addition of Bingshan Chalcedony, the temperature of the entire medicine refining cauldron suddenly dropped. Seeing this, Xiao Yang did not panic. The dazzling soul power continued to emerge, and then poured into the medicine refining cauldron. Immediately afterward, the withered spirit origin branch and some medicinal materials that neutralized the medicinal power were all under Xiao Yang's control, and were continuously thrown into the cauldron. With the high temperature of the flame, they were slowly refined. This guy is really bold and careful. Seeing Xiao Yang concentrating on refining medicinal pills, Hua Fei couldn't help but say. Even with Hua Fei's current strength, he would not dare to rush to refine so many medicinal materials at the same time. After all, if there is any mistake, then this pile of medicinal materials will be wasted, and we can only start all over again. And Xiao Yang dared to do this, no doubt only shows that this guy has great confidence in the medicinal pills he has refined. Take a good look at it. Xiao Yang, this guy is not only tyrannical in his soul power, but also in the use of his soul power. At least when I was at his level, I didn't dare to refine so many soul powers at the same time. This is the gap between you and him. Tan Chen said in a didactic tone. Master, I have been taught. Hua Fei heard this, and did not say much this time. Obviously, in the face of the suppression of strength, Hua Fei was also looking forward to Xiao Yang more and more. For 200 days, Xiao Yang has been refining medicinal materials, but there were no major mistakes. Even some small mistakes were eliminated under Xiao Yang's care, which made Hua Fei admire Xiao Yang involuntarily. He got up, at least he couldn't achieve Xiao Yang's level. Boom. At this moment, the raging fire in the medicinal cauldron was fiery red, burning all the medicinal materials with all their might. Although this medicine refining cauldron is powerful, it is not the best. It seems that we have to find a time to find a medicine refining cauldron on the sacred cauldron list. Otherwise, the power of the holy flame is too strong, and ordinary medicine refining, I'm afraid the cauldron can't bear it. Xiao Yang's dazzling soul power controlled the balance of the flame and the medicinal materials in the medicinal cauldron, and spoke slowly. The most important thing for a pharmacist is the ability to perceive the soul, followed by the support of flames and vindictiveness to refine the medicinal pills, and finally the medicine cauldron. It can be said unceremoniously that a high-quality medicine refining cauldron can greatly increase the success rate of medicine refining, and even reduce many unfavorable factors. Therefore, in the eyes of pharmacists, the holy cauldron list is second only to the holy flame. If there is a medicine refining cauldron on the holy cauldron list, I am afraid that Xiao Yang's current identity and refining skills will be more powerful. Withered spirit origin branch, it's getting better soon. After thinking about it for a while, Xiao Yang didn't dare to be distracted. After all, this is an immortal level 4th grade heaven level medicinal pill, and it is not a child's play. So I'm afraid this test will end in failure. Although Xiao Yang had 3 chances, it would take too much time to refine just once. In addition, Xiao Yang had to participate in Dongju, so there was only 1 chance, otherwise the time would not catch up. As for Xiao Yang's refining medicinal materials, it took nearly 150 days for the 3 main medicinal materials and other auxiliary medicinal materials to be completely refined. If Xiao Yang used holy flame, it would probably be enough within 100 days. After a while, when the energy in the medicine refining cauldron slowly dispersed a trace of aroma, 4 groups of energy liquids in the cauldron slowly formed. The spirit swallowing stone, which was refined at the beginning, was also the most difficult to refine. At this time, it has turned into a silver liquid. In this silver liquid, there is a terrifying power that does not lose to Dozian powerhouse. As for other withered spirits, the source branch turned into a mass of yellow liquid, and on top of the yellow liquid, the tyrannical sealing power faintly exuded, making everyone slightly surprised. Ice Heart Chalcedony, at this time, it has melted into a mass of gold and silver clear liquid. The liquid is like a pool of water, transparent and clear, but it contains extremely terrifying power. As for the end, there are many neutralizations. The medicinal materials were all condensed by Xiao Yang and turned into a colorful liquid. This little guy's control over flames and soul power is not weak. Tan Chen also noticed that Xiao Yang was about to take the next step, so he couldn't help but speak. As for Hua Fei on the side, he was staring at Xiao Yang attentively, trying to learn something from it, so as to improve his refining skills. Next, the fusion begins. Xiao Yang was slightly startled and said solemnly, "Refining the medicinal materials, this is only the simplest step. The real difficulty is to combine these medicinal materials into a pill, and the elixir tribulation after the pill. Let's start." Xiao Yang closed his eyes, and his dazzling soul force shot directly at the medicine refining cauldron. With such a dazzling soul power pouring into the cauldron was immediately divided into 3 parts. The 3 groups of liquid formed by the Ice Heart Chalcedony, the withered spirit source leaf, and the swallowing spirit stone completely divided the entire cauldron into 3 parts. As for the colorful liquids, they were driven out of the cauldron. Humph. Since it was refined by me, is there any reason why I can't accept you? Xiao Yang snorted coldly in his heart, and his dazzling soul power and fighting spirit immediately slammed away at Ding Nei. The 3 groups of liquid resisted extremely stubbornly at first, and no matter how Xiao Yang was, he couldn't get close, let alone merge. 5 days have passed. During the 5 days, Xiao Yang was not in a hurry, but continued to use his soul power to enter the cauldron. With Xiao Yang's actions, the 3 groups of liquid that resisted extremely fiercely were also defeated. It's all right now. Xiao Yang saw that the 3 groups of liquid had no stubborn resistance, and immediately opened his eyes slightly, and the majestic soul power burst out. It's finally time for fusion. This guy is too perverted. Does this mean that 4 groups of liquids need to be fused together? This is too heavy a load on his soul power, and if he is not careful, it may cause a lot of trauma to his soul power. Hua Fei's eyes narrowed at this time, obviously shocked by Xiao Yang's actions. Give me a fusion. And Xiao Yang naturally didn't care about other things. The majestic soul power slowly entered the cauldron, and suddenly the 4 groups of liquid were suddenly compressed, and the 4 groups of liquid began to slowly merge in a short time. The fusion went quite smoothly this time, and there were no problems. Probably because of Xiao Yang's soaring soul power, the fusion went smoothly. It has become a pill. The next moment, under Xiao Yang's subtle control, the 4 groups of liquids slowly merged together without spilling any power. Appears in the center of the tripod. At this time, above the sky of the Alchemist Association, a dark thunderbolt slowly appeared. The color of this thunderbolt was dark, but it carried a shocking power. Such power, I am afraid ordinary fighting immortals will completely fall under it. Where to run? Xiao Yang naturally realized the thunder elixir robbery outside, but his soul power was directly transformed into a big hand, and he collected the elixir. Next, the elixir calamity. How should you deal with it? At this time, Tan Chen was also quite satisfied with Xiao Yang, but there was still one last step before it could be called a real success. Dan Jia, I haven't met you for a long time. Jin Yaropup is no longer suitable for the current battle. It seems that he can only rely on himself. Xiao Yang thought for a while, and then his figure suddenly swept away and appeared in the sky above the Alchemist Association in an instant. Is that the pill calamity formed by the immortal level pills? This guy is so young. How could he be an immortal pharmacist? It's so terrifying. It seems that Dongju is really a crouching tiger, hidden dragon. Looking at the tyrannical thunder in the sky above the Alchemist Association, there were bursts of noisy sounds from all around. Xiao Yang, you really didn't die. It seems that we will have a good fight in the East Continent rivalry. I just want to see why you can come out of Icefire Island safely. After seeing Xiao Yang's figure, A figure not far away also smiled slowly. Stand up. Who? With this level of thunder power, it's probably not that easy to take over. Xiao Yan was in the center of the thunder cloud, so he could naturally feel that every beat of the thunder would bring his own heart to beat fiercely. It can be seen that this immortal pill tribulation is not that easy. This video will end here.